5 years.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
It's time for the fall haul at Northern Tool and Equipment. Get your hands on tough tools at prices that are tough to ignore. Got plans? Cancel them. Trucks in the shop? Borrow someone else's. Don't like saving money? Right. So head to the fall haul at Northern Tool. Stock up at the season's biggest event and get huge savings on brands like Milwaukee, Honda, and Ingersoll Rand. Shop at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
Picture a swimmer backstroking through a pool of lime jelly. Now picture yourself getting the new titanium iPhone 15 Pro. Now picture a lion and antelope hugging. Now picture yourself switching to Boost Infinite and getting the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Now picture that swimmer again, but this time it's you. And the pool is full of iPhones and baby ducks. Boost Infinite. Infinitely better. Switch today. Just dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slowed. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from the station's network.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer.
Look at him go! He simply runs out of his shoe. He's running so fast.
And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots.
Watch for the great block by Keith Byars on Pepper Johnson. Bam! Right there. Byars just nailed it.
He's Dayton's own Keith Byars. It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 E.
Welcome. You listen to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Phone number to call is 937-518-1410, or you can text me at 937-518-1410. And you want to get your Twitter fingers do the typing for you. KAB41 at twitter.com where you can get me on my handle. Or you can even watch me live. I got my chicken off, my lunch off camera, but I had me some Lees before I went on air. And you can go to our website. What is it, just 1410wingam.com, and you can post your questions to that website. So you can see me live talking to you. I got the camera somewhere in my face. I'm trying to position the camera. People say, you got a voice for radio, but I got a face for one too when I'm on. Wow, what a weekend. What a weekend of sports to wrap up, to talk about. Well, my weekend started with a bang. It was homecoming weekend for The Ohio State University. And what did I do? Well, on Friday night, one of the traditions at Ohio State is that former captains have dinner with the football team on homecoming weekend. When I was in school, the traditions changed somewhat. When I was in school, the former captains, it was a captain's breakfast on Sunday morning after homecoming. And when Tressel came in, he wanted to tweak it. He wanted more of the team to be involved, not just the captains, because it was when I was in school back in the 80s and the 70s, it was the current captains of the Ohio State football team, along with the former captains that were in town for homecoming. And that was a tradition, and it got tweaked when Tressel came in, and he's wanted the whole football team to experience it. And now on pregame meal on Friday night, we go to Ohio State Golf Course where the team has been eating for time and eternity night before a home game. And it's neat. It's a good tradition. And part of my tradition of being there, being a former captain, is to eat with the running backs, because you usually eat by position groups. And so I sat with the running backs, and I posted a picture on my social media page, my Facebook page, of me at dinner on Friday night, day before the Maryland game, with the running backs. And that was, it's a treat for me. It's a treat for them. Coach Alford, the running back coach, he's he texted me early Saturday morning when they were at breakfast, and he said all the players were really, the running backs were really excited to spend that time with you. And they said that's all they've been talking about is, just hearing some of your war stories and just seeing that, my pictures in the running back room of the former they don't have every running back that played at Ohio State. They only have a few of us that's posted on the fat heads, I guess they call it, in the running back room. And so when you get an opportunity, for the current players to talk to one of the guys, one of the old heads, if you will, that's a treat for the players and for myself too. So it's a two-way street. So I enjoyed spending time with Mine Williams, Travion Henderson, Trip Chainham, Dallin Hayden, the whole running back room. Evan Pryor, those are just super nice guys. And you can probably hear the landscaper outside the studio. But it was great, and that's a good tradition to start off homecoming weekend. Then we had the football game, Ohio State in Maryland. Well, my gosh, it didn't start the way we wanted to. We spotted them 10-0, and Ohio State won the football game, unless you've been up under a rock. Won the game by 20 points on the final score, 37-17. So I'm gonna talk some about that game. To be there in the stadium. I get there as much as I can. I got other things, but I always watch every snap, every game, of the Buckeyes. And I was talking to the running backs on Friday night, and I said, guys, I've been retired. I haven't scored a touchdown on Ohio State in 38 years. I said, but when I watch you guys, I play every Saturday with you. Every time y'all run the ball, I'm running the ball. I'm bobbing and weaving and trying to break away and score. So I play through you guys. So I'm that 12th man in the huddle with you. So you're part of the brotherhood now. You guys are my little brother. I'm Archie Griffin's and Pete Johnson's little brother. So, but one thing we are all, Buckeyes, and we're all, part of the brotherhood. No matter race, creed, color, religion. Hey, you went to the Ohio State University, we're all the same. And that's one of the reasons why people don't like Ohio State, because, they just hate us because they're not us. They don't like all the traditions that we have, but it's great. And my college roommate was at the game too, was at homecoming weekend. He's a former captain. Talk about none other than Pepper Johnson. He's been coaching in the NFL for many years, collect 5 Super Bowl rings over that time, after a long NFL career. And so we got to spend time, together on campus. And what was neat, one of the neat traditions at Ohio State, when you make first team All-American, you have to make first team, not just All-American. Can't be honorable mention All-American. You have to make first team All-American on the football team. And when you do that, you get a tree planted in your honor. Some people know about it. Some people don't. All those trees around Ohio Stadium are Buckeye trees with Ohio State Buckeyes. And in the south end of the stadium is called Buckeye Grove. It used to be on the east side of the stadium up until about 15, 20 years ago. Now they moved those trees to the southern, and it's much nicer. It's a sign up that says Buckeye Grove. So when you walk into campus, what is Buckeye Grove? Well, what's that plate on the ground? That's a plate honoring that player's tree. So if you made first team All-American at Ohio State, they're going to play a tree on the football team, not the basketball team or the track or the baseball. It's the football thing. You get a tree planted. And, I was All-American in 84. My college roommate was All-American in 85. And our trees are right across from each other. And it's so neat, as my kids, they're grown now, but when they were growing up, to get to go see their father's tree, hey, what is this? This is your dad's tree, mate. He did something in college that was pretty special, and they're going to honor you. You have this for life, forever. So that was, that's a cool tradition. And so Pepper and I, we went in Buckeye Grove, as long as my wife was with me also. And, she helped take the pictures, and she got in a few pictures. So that was nice to have to go back and look at the tree. So it was good memory. That's what you're supposed to do at homecoming. Nostalgia, look back, but more importantly, win the football game. And the team won the football game. So that was great to happen. And it was a great experience. And some things never get old. I'm sitting in Ohio Stadium, and the football team come busting out the locker room, led by Ryan Day. And I looked over to Pepper Johnson, and Carlos Hyde was in there, Santonio Holmes. We was all sitting together, and Will Allen, great Buckeye from here to Dayton area, from Wayne High School, and Mike Doss. And I looked at those guys. I said, "Does that ever get old?" They said, "What?" I said, coming out of that tunnel." And all in unison, "No, it never gets old." And always remember the first time you come out that tunnel, and you remember the last time, and all the times in between. It was special the first time you ran out that tunnel, and it was special the last time you ran out the tunnel. So, all those kind of traditions, mean something, to us. And go on and win the football game with a chance to be national champions. And when you come to Ohio State, you truly have a chance to be a national champion. You come there to win championships, win Big Ten championships, and go on and so on and so forth. And to get the chance to impart that knowledge is why the coaches do it too. But when they hear it from different sources, like the sources like the former players, it stands out. So it was great to have that dinner on Friday night, be at the game on Saturday, and spend some time with my wife and letting her see where her husband went to school and hanging out. Some things just never gets old. And it really is good, to be a Buckeye. Now, to the Buckeyes. Well. Guys, we're 5-0. And what's the only thing better than being 5-0 is being 6-0. We got work to do. And I said it back in September. And what I said back in September, I hope we're not playing our best football this season. And we weren't. Here it is. We played our first game in October, and we're still not playing our best football. Are we better than we were against Indiana the first game of the season? Yes. Have we arrived? No. Will we get better? We will see. But one saving grace for Ohio State, there's no team out there in the college football that's that team, that's like that it team. That is the team to beat. I know people are talking about Georgia. I know some are talking about that team up north, Michigan. But, I haven't seen it. I really, truly have not seen that one team that I'm like, yeah, they're standing out above everyone else. I mean, Georgia had their best bust-out game of the season against overrated Kentucky team. Overrated Kentucky team. They had a moment. And Michigan, they came out and did what they're supposed to do against Minnesota and just dominated. But we know how soft Michigan's schedule has been. It's not their fault. So yes, they schedule them, but it's not truly, all their fault. Why they have no bearing on that as far as, who they play and when they play. And, it is what it is. But even at that, there's no team has truly separated themselves from the pack. So now we are coming up. We're at the midpoint for most of the teams. Ohio State is 12 games. The midpoint would be 6 games. So this past Saturday, a lot of teams hit their hit point. They hit 6 games. Ohio State just finished their 5th. So next week, Ohio State will be at their midpoint of the season. And once we're at the midpoint of the season for everyone, that's when I really, really start getting locked in on who's going to be in the Final Four, who has a chance to win their conference championship. That second half of the season. The NFL is a marathon of a season. You break it up in 4 to 5 game increments. And then in college football, it's only 12 games. And if you're fortunate enough to get to your conference championship, it's 13 games. And then if you play the bowl game. But you're only guaranteed 12. So that's like a sprint from day one. You got to get out the blocks fast, and you got to maintain it throughout the season. And that's one thing that the Buckeyes have done. They have started fast. We're 5-0. Teams that are 4-1 wish they would be 5-0. Teams that are 4-2, wish they could be 6-0. But nonetheless, this morning I released on my social media, my top 16 teams in the country. And yes, the Buckeyes are in there. But now going forward, after next week, start to look even closer to how things are lining up. And by the time we get to the last week of October, probably if you're not in the top 10, you're not going to the college football playoffs. You're not going to pick up a whole lot of ground, and you're at 13 or 14, and you think you're going to leapfrog that many teams to get into the top 4. It's not going to happen. So if your team isn't in the top 4 or the top 5, the top 10, top 12 today, it's not the end of the world. But this month, your team has to pick up the pace. So with that being said, I'm going to give you my top 16 teams, starting at 16, going down to number 1. So every week has been changing. This week is no different. So the number 16 team in the country that I have, that would be UCLA. They had one loss, and they're picking up their pace. They had a drop. Number 15 is Duke. Duke, I'm not even talking about basketball, I'm talking about football. Duke had that one loss, a walk-off loss against Notre Dame last week, but they bounced back this week, and they're moving up in the polls. 14 is Louisville. Louisville, the first time they've made my rankings. I had them outside my top 16 teams for the last 2 weeks, but that big win over at Notre Dame, they just leapfrogged. Now they're at 14 from off my radar to on my radar. 14. Then we got 13. We got Oregon State. Oregon State, don't count them out. They got Oregon at the end of the season, but right now, Oregon State. Number 12. This team dropped. They're still undefeated, but they dropped on my list. That's USC. Triple overtime. But they won the game, but they dropped down to 12. Number 11, outside the top 10 for some weeks now, but they're creeping up there. They're working their way back up, and that would be Alabama. Alabama is number 11. They're on the outside looking in, but they're one of those schools that control their destiny. All you got to do is win them all, and then they'll be right where they want to be in the college football playoffs. They got an easy path between now and the SEC championship game. They should win the West, and they get in that SEC championship game, and they'll probably be facing Georgia if all things hold up. And then if they win that, they will win their way into the college football playoffs, into the top 4. Number 10, I've been getting flack for this team for the last 2 or 3 weeks from some of my friends from around the country. Florida State. I got Florida State number 10. They're like, wow, they should be ranked in front of the Buckeyes. They should be higher. Have you seen their defense? The offense is dynamic. Have you seen their defense? Okay, enough said. Number 9, they took a tough loss this past Saturday, so I had to drop them down. But again, they control their destiny also. They can play themselves right back up, and that is the Eyes of Texas. The Texas Longhorns at number 9. Number 8, the Tar Heels. And no, Michael Jordan's not about to walk back in the building. The place not talking basketball. We're talking football. North Carolina, they're playing good football right now. They're the number 8 team in the country, probably the best team in the ACC right now. Number 7, Oregon, the Oregon Ducks. They're number 7. They had a bye week. And they said they're not playing for clicks. Why they get clicks? Number 6, Big Ten team. First time I mentioned somebody from the Big Ten, and that would be the Nittany Lions. Penn State. They're the number 6 team in the country right now. Number 5, Washington, the Huskies. Well, the Huskies, that's the number 1 team that I have in the Big 12. The Pac-12. But the Pac-12 are playing some really good football this year. Really good. Now, if the college football playoffs started today, who would be my 4th team? That would be the Boomer Sooner. Nice upset. I don't know if it was an upset. Nice win over Texas this past weekend. What do they call that? The Red River Shootout? I think that's what they call it. Red River Rivalry. Or they maybe politically correct. They dropped the shootout part because it's made just a rivalry. But hey, and nonetheless, that's the traditional game I look forward to watching every year, Texas and Oklahoma. But Oklahoma is the number 4 team in the country, according to my ballot. And then my ballot for number 3 team is yours truly. The Ohio State University Buckeyes are number 4 number 3. Number 2, I have Georgia. And number 1, that team up north. So if the college football players started today, 1 versus 4 would be Michigan and Oklahoma, and 2 versus 3 would be Georgia and Ohio State in a rematch. But we are a long way from all that talk. So that is my top 16 teams submitted to the Football Writers Association and the National Football Foundation. That is my rankings, and that, so I do have a say. So I'm saying it, and some of the voting has been all over the map, but that's the way I see, my top 16 teams, in the country as of where we stand, right now. But if you don't like where your team is, tell them to win. They can always win themselves up to rankings and be right where they need to be at the end of the season. So we will see. We will see how it works out. But that's, where we are in college football. I'm glad we're not talking about the Heisman Trophy right now, because I don't know. Archie Griffin is the only 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. Caleb Williams is trying to be the second 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. And as many points that they're putting up at USC and they keep winning, it's going to be hard not to get that vote. But Michael Penix has something to say out there in Washington. So I know these Pac-12 teams play late night on Saturdays. I know a lot of times you're exhausted. I haven't been to bed before 2:30 on any Saturday night since football season started, up watching all these games. But it's a lot of great individual players out there. We have a special one in Marvin Harrison, who I think if we feature him right, he has a chance to get to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. And who knows, maybe win it. But we got a lot of football games to play. And we will find out 7 football games for the Ohio State Buckeyes, to figure out if Marvin Harrison can get there. But speaking of the Buckeyes, I have danced around it long enough. We got work to do. Yes, we do. My wife is texting me. Oh, I'm here. If you had, how do I start this? When I talk about Maryland, other than we won the football game, and that is important. But you've heard me say many times, Justin has heard me say it all the time, I don't care how they play, I care how we play. And yes, you can look at the bottom line. Oh, look, how much offense did we have? We threw the ball. We had 382 yards of offense. 320 of that came from the passing game. That sound like balance to you? Our running game is in trouble. Our running game is in trouble. Not because of personnel. Not because of the running backs. Don't look at the running backs. I love our running backs. I think we got the best running back room in the country. But they don't mean nothing if you ain't getting the work done up front and you're not getting the right coaching and the right play calling. All that comes together when you're describing, a team. So it's not just one area. So everyone has to wear the hat. But, how do you get better on third down? Simple. You do better on first and second down. Our third down efficiency is terrible. 3 out of 12 against Maryland. Fourth down efficiency, 50%, 1 out of 2. Guys, we are not playing. We're playing winning football. We're not playing championship football. If the college football playoffs started today, I know I said earlier, I haven't really seen no clear number 1, number 2, number 3 team. If you're in the top 10 or 12 on my list, I think you got a legitimate chance, a very legitimate chance of winning it. But now this second half of the season, we have got it. It's no longer, we're still trying to get our feet wet. The season just started. Dude, we are in the heart. It's all Big Ten games from here on out. And we need to change our mentality, our approach, because these slow starts are going to catch up to you. They're going to catch up to you. We have got to establish our identity on who we are on offense, and we got to get our identity on defense. But we have to not. Words have meaning. You can't just say we're this without going out there and proving it. That's why I like to watch the boxers, the day before the fight press conferences. oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and then everybody, like George Foreman said it first, everybody got a plan until you get busted in the mouth. So Ohio State have never been talkers. We don't never talk like that. We just go out and play. And you know what you're going to get when you play against a physical Ohio State football team. The problem is we haven't always been physical. We haven't always been tough. But that's what we have to come out there and do, and just show some grit and stop playing around. So like I said earlier, if you want to be good on third down, you have to be good on first down and second down to make you convert those third down. Because third downs turn into first downs, first down turns into touchdowns. Yes, we had 37 points, but it wasn't, we had a pick six in there. But that's how, you need some short fields and you need some defensive things. And I'm not giving the defense no pass either. We are not getting off the field quick enough. I mean 3 and outs. I love the turnovers we've gotten, and we're going to continue to get more. But I just call it like it is. And I saw the DB coach on Friday night, and I just told him, I don't bite my tongue. I said, oh, I'm glad the corners finally got an interception. Last year we wouldn't have any. And he looked at me, I was like, Coach, that's what it is. We need interceptions. No tip balls, and don't just go up and high. Just sometimes go make a play. And our DBs this year are playing so much better than they did last year. And that's good. That's good. There's some of them more experience. Trey Burke is playing Denzel Burke. I'm thinking of basketball. Denzel Burke has improved from last year immensely. But he's in year 3. That's what it should look like. And I'm loving it. And he keeps going out there and competing every week. He's going to be fine. We are, so as a defense, I want to see more 3 and outs. I need to see more time. They have to, be more dominant. I'm starting to see some knockback hits, and that's what I love. That's what I want to see. That's then we will have our identity back. We are the Buckeyes. We're coming out to hit you in the mouth, and everybody knows it. You know it, and we're going to go and do it. That's what we got to get back to. So this Saturday against Purdue, I don't play the point spread game and all that. I don't care about all that. All I care about is at least we got 1 point better than them. And not only that, I want us to come out there and play to our max ability. If we do that, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. The scoreboard will take care of itself. We didn't start games when I was there. We got to have 40 today. We got to have 30. Let's just go out and do our jobs. And the scoreboard will reflect that. If everyone grade winning performances, we're going to be fine. So, but don't take any teams lightly. I'm not saying, they're doing that. But if we want to change our numbers, we only ran for 62 yards against Maryland. I don't mind us having 382 yards of offense. But I know we're capable of 400, 500, 600 yards of offense. If we don't run for 150 yards on the ground, we didn't have a good day. Not Ohio State. We're supposed to run for 150 yards on everybody. I'm talking about as a unit, not the starting running back doesn't have to get 150 yards. As a unit, we should have 150 yards. As a passing game, with our weapons, we should throw no less, I'll be real nice, no less than 250 yards. You got 250 yards of passing, 150 yards of rushing, you're doing pretty darn good. You are in that end zone at least 4 or 5 times. That's 28 to 35 points. That should win you a whole bunch of games. And when you're putting points up there like that offensively, your defense is on the bench watching the rest of it. So that's what it's going to have to take going forward. We have got now, second half of the season, you want us to start talking about the Buckeyes in November, going to the playoffs, have an undefeated October. What's better than being 5-0? 6-0. And what do I have to do right now? I got to take a break. We got to pay some bills around here. I got to go to commercials, but the commercials won't be that long. I'll be back to talk about your Bengals, a little bit about your Browns because the Browns had a bye week. And, phone lines are open if you want to call and talk about what's on your mind. Then we're going to talk about a little high school football. Our top stars of the week that just past completed Friday night. We'll mention their names, give them some love. You're listening to the Keith Byars radio show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. See you on the other side.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Want the best fried chicken in the nation? Bring home the chicken-voted Best Fast Food Fried Chicken by USA Today readers when you pick up a 12-piece family meal from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. With 12 pieces of honey-dipped, hand-breaded, pressure-cooked to perfection chicken, 3 craveable large sides, and 6 fluffy biscuits, this is the flavor that made us famous. Head to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now, online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Poking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun. Looking for some spooky entertainment? Join us at Poking Bowling Centers for a great night out with your family and friends. And check out the Spooktacular Laser Tag, now ready at Poking Woodman Lanes. It's Halloween fun for all. Visit PokingBowling.com or on Facebook for all the details to schedule your next Halloween bowling party. Let the good times roll at Poking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue, Poking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Poking Lanes South in Centerville on Kings Ridge Drive.
Menards has the floor with the style you want and performance you need. Latitude Luxury Vinyl Plank from Shaw is the perfect choice to bring elegance to your home while standing up to the most demanding environments. It's waterproof, durable, and is easy to install. Latitude Vinyl Plank is just $2.99 a square foot after 11% rebate. Good through October 15th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. With kids back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Make Exergen thermometer the chosen thermometer for your home or business to check for fever, where accuracy matters. When measuring temperature at home and at work, use an Exergen thermometer to keep your family and your colleagues safe. Available at Walmart and other participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we have represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Dayton area attorneys. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431.
My name is Jim Conroy, and I am the CEO at Boot Barn. As we celebrate 45 years supporting the Western community, we have been reflecting on the American Cowboys' incredible influence on our nation. Through tenacity and grit, they persevere to keep the cowboy legacy alive while feeding families across the world. It speaks to the strength and spirit of our country, and we are honored to support this proud heritage. Thank you for sharing the West with us for 45 years.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Your house is more than just a roof over your head. When it comes to protecting your home, you want a roofing company that you can trust. That's where Enterprise Roofing comes in. They've been serving the Dayton area for over 90 years and have over 1,000 Dayton area projects under their belt. They're a third-generation, family-owned business, and they're here to stay. You can trust Enterprise Roofing to be here, now and whenever you need them. Call today at 937-298-8664 to schedule your consultation.
The Western Ohio Home Builders Association and Minster Bank proudly present the Fall Parade of Homes, Saturday and Sunday, October 14th and 15th from noon until 4 p.m. This free event will feature 17 thoughtfully designed homes to tour throughout the northern Miami Valley. Whether your dreams involve building a new home or giving your current home a fresh makeover, the Fall Parade of Homes is your destination, an annual event not to be missed. Embrace the journey of finding your dream home at the Fall Parade of Homes. Plan your visit at poh.westernohiohba.com.
It's time for the Fall Haul at Northern Tool and Equipment. Get your hands on tough tools at prices that are tough to ignore. Got plans? Cancel them. Trucks in the shop? Borrow someone else's. Don't like saving money? Right. So head to the Fall Haul at Northern Tool. Stock up at the season's biggest event and get huge savings on brands like Milwaukee, Honda, and Ingersoll Rand. Shop at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
Picture a swimmer backstroking through a pool of lime jelly. Now picture yourself getting the new titanium iPhone 15 Pro. Now picture a lion and antelope hugging. Now picture yourself switching to Boost Infinite and getting the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Now picture that swimmer again, but this time it's you, and the pool is full of iPhones and baby ducks. Boost Infinite. Infinitely better. Switch today. Just dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slowed. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from the station's network.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for two to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner will be chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun casual joint and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
Welcome back. You listen to the Keith Byars radio show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. There's a Lee's near you. There's one probably at that red light. Put your be careful and listen to some sports. Talk some sports with me, or email your questions. You know, the Bengals played yesterday, and did they get a W? I believe they did. You know, they did get it. They was on Carolina. They was started with CDC words. They was in Arizona, and they put it on. Am I stretching it? But Justin, am I saying they put it on the Cardinals, or they just won?
They pulled away.
They put them away, 34-20. So Bengals, hey, welcome back to the party. Welcome back to the 2023 season. You know, I hate to use traditionally, but traditionally, since Zach Thomas has been there. From October 1, the Bengals start to play some football. They always take September off. So, Bengals, I'm not even going to say you're on a winning streak, but you won 1 in a row. Go get 2 in a row. You know, go get 2 in a row. I think we got some questions, Justin. You want some questions that people typed in, for me?
So, the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, by the way, live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page and ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Andy Lawrence, by the way, says go Bucks. He just says go Bucks.
I said OH.
That's the Big Ten commissioner, as he likes to call himself. Nick on Facebook says, I feel like the run game scheme doesn't match the O-line. Your response?
That's a good question. Well, there's a run game scheme and there's a run game philosophy. And our schemes, they're not matching up with our philosophy. Because our philosophy, which is what Ryan Day likes to stretch the edges. He likes to go a lot of east-west where you go down, running downhill. So he likes to run a lot of stretch plays. The problem is they run those same plays into the boundary to try to stretch it, and the running back has to be blocked to perfection for the running back to be able to, hit the hole. Whereas when you would let him, I like myself personally being in an I formation. Whereas if I'm supposed to run the ball to the right, between the right guard and the right tackle, and they overplay it, now I could cut back. You don't see our running backs cut back very often. They have to run there. This whole, you see them bounce out. But, so our schemes and philosophy aren't always matching up, which when that doesn't happen, you're not going to be very successful. When you have the schemes and your philosophy, when you have J.K. Dobbins, when you have Ezekiel Elliott, and, Travion Henderson, and Mayan Williams, when you run them the right way, Mayan Williams is more of a power back. You wouldn't necessarily make a living, tossing him the ball out wide. Whereas, more toss plays with Mayan Williams, you can run a toss with Mayan, but you would reserve those plays more so for Travion Henderson. But we kind of do the opposite. We run Travion right between the guards and tackles way too much more than that on the edge. So the philosophy and the schemes aren't always matching up. Next question.
Todd Hem on Facebook. Todd Hem says he loves the Buckeyes, but he does say, Keith, I know we have to take one game at a time, but do you think we have what it takes to beat Penn State and Michigan this year?
Yes. Yeah, I do say take one game at a time, but those certain games you circle on your calendar. Michigan games stay circle. We're constantly thinking about them 364 days a year. That's it, 365th day. It's all of them. Then we're going there talk. We've been talking about it. So we always have our eye on Michigan. You always have your eye on Penn State because that is a traditionally powerhouse team that you have to bring it if you want to beat them. They have, constantly have it. So you got to stay ready for those, type of teams in those situations. So we will see. I'm going to that game in 2 weeks when they play Penn State. But like you said, we play one game at a time. So I'm not getting too ahead of myself. We better be 6-0 going into that Penn State game. And, so we got Purdue this week. And, this first-year coach, they're still trying to find their way. I bet you they wish they had to save that money and paid, Jeff Brooms a little bit more because he's doing a heck of a job over there at Louisville. But let's talk a little bit about the NFL. The Bengals, they finally got a W. Now I said they have to win 2 games in a row. They are constantly, self-sabotaging, themselves, but not being ready. Joe Burrow, he looked much better yesterday. From what I heard, I didn't see all that game. Let me give you full disclosure. I didn't see all that game. Yesterday I was traveling, so same people that I shouldn't say, a lot of people, talk about the Philadelphia Eagle fans. They are the worst. They're the first fans out there. They're talking from a lack of knowledge standpoint. The Eagles fans are the best. Now, I was in Philadelphia yesterday at a watch party. I know you guys are familiar with watch parties are. That's where they, bring in athletes or, and you go watch the football game. They do them in college too. And, with the fan base. So the Philadelphia fans that asked me to come out there. The Eagles were in Los Angeles yesterday. And the People's House I was over with, me and a couple other former Eagles, Brian Westbrook, Fred Barnett, Mark McMillan, Mike Mamula. We was over these people's house. And I don't know how, I lost track of how many TVs they had in the house. But between the main house, the basement, outside on the patio, I'm going to say they had no less than 20 televisions. And every television was tuned into the Eagles game. It wasn't, let me see what's going on the other channel or this channel. No, everybody in the house was diehard Eagles. Every channel, every TV was about the Eagles. And we was, a festive affair. Yeah, all kind of food there. But when the game was on, people was, eating their snacks, watching the game. Eagles make a play, they cheering. Somebody make a play on the Eagles, they was jeering. That's why they're the most knowledgeable fan base. And I'm not saying other fan bases don't do anything like that. But when they scanned the crowd yesterday at the Eagles-Ram game, did you see all those, that sea of green? Probably not, because you weren't watching the Eagles game. But it was Eagle fans. Eagle fans. When they was in Tampa on Monday night, with the week 2 of the season, they took over Tampa Stadium. And I said, yeah, Keith, they ain't the only one to travel like that. Other teams do it too. Not to that degree. Not to that degree. Because, not when they're just good. And the most time the Eagles are good. That fan base gets it. They are all in, on their football team. That's how they do. And it feels good. So I was there. I was at home, but I had to call an early morning flight to be back here with you guys. My flight left at 6 o'clock. I was up at 4 something. My alarm went off. I thought I was at home. Okay. That's not, my wife is not there. I better wake up and do something. I better catch a plane. So I had to fly through Chicago to get here, to be here for the show. I'm here. I'm fired up. I can't wait. I couldn't wait to get on the microphone to talk about, what I saw this weekend. Like I said, this weekend was homecoming weekend. I had a great time in Columbus. The team is 5-0. Got a long way to go, but we're 5-0. And I'm still. The Browns will play next week. We haven't had a week yet this season yet, Justin. Have we had a perfect Ohio weekend with the Buckeyes winning on Saturday and the Bengals and the Browns winning on Sunday? Has that happened yet? No, it hasn't happened yet. But it's going to happen. And since it's still early in the NFL season, we still have a chance for AFC, all Ohio weekend. AFC Championship being all Ohio. Like, Keith, slow down. The Bengals finally won a game and you're talking that stuff again. Well, you can dream. Martin Luther King had a dream. So you can dream can come true. It can come true. You're only 2-3 right now, Bengals. 2-3 is a lot better than 1-4 now, isn't it? You got a chance to, still right the ship. We're not at the halfway point. So the AFC North is tight. I don't know if you guys saw the Bengals. It's the Ravens and the Steelers. You hear me say, even though I was traveling this morning, I saw it last night. What is one of my favorite expressions? Coaches and quarterbacks get way too much credit when team wins and way too much blame when a team loses. Like I heard some people getting on the Ravens yesterday, and they're talking about Lamar Jackson. He should have did this. And did you see all those drops he had? And he had one of the drops. The Ravens was winning 7-0. Threw the guy wide, the Bateman in the end zone. It had been 14-0, and he drops it. Now it's only 10-0. So the NFL is not college. It is 75% of these games are decided by 7 points or less every week. Yeah, you have some blowouts, but more often than not, this week was a outlier. But more often than not, these games are going to come down to 7 points. 7 points. One possession games. Do you make the play or do you not make the play? It comes out to that a lot. But the Bengals are still alive in the AFC North. That's where you want to be. And if you want to, be the number one seed, you don't win your division, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there. So, and it's never too early to start looking for the playoffs because all these games matter. All of them matter. And Cleveland Browns, I heard my producer was telling me, Justin, Deshaun Watson didn't practice today. Well, he still got 6 days. Get that shoulder right. So I'm not surprised he didn't practice on Monday. Not looking for him to do too much tomorrow because tomorrow should be off. But come Wednesday, you get back to your normal work week, getting as far as your preparation, for your opponent. So hopefully Deshaun Watson is back so the Browns and the Bengals can both be on track at the same time. But a lot's going to happen in the NFL season. And It's really a whole not much more to say, about that. But I just want to, transition back, to college, one more time. Who would be your favorite to win the Big Ten right now? When I was at the captain's dinner on Friday night, Ryan Day, spoke for a few moments. And Justin, you probably didn't even think of this either. Ohio State played Maryland. That was the 7th game in a row Ohio State played an undefeated team. The 7th game in a row. Because they played Michigan last year, who was undefeated. Georgia last year was undefeated. And they got to their 5th game, and everybody they played was undefeated. Indiana was undefeated. They were 0-0. Then they played Youngstown, who was 1-0. They played Western Kentucky, who was 2-0. Then they played Notre Dame, who was 3-0. Then they played Maryland, who was 5-0. That doesn't happen too often, huh? Did you play 7 straight undefeated teams? So reason why he brought that up, because, when you're undefeated, you have a different swagger about you. You have a different sense of direction. Even if it's simple as Indiana. Hey, we're both 0-0. We got as much chance to win a championship as the next guy. All those things matter. And what Ohio State has to do going forward, win the mental battle with themselves, get their identity together. So the Bengals, hey, feel good about this first W. It's our second. Well, the first one this month. Don't just win one game a month. Carry that momentum over. And Browns, I don't want to hear the excuses this time next week. Well, we were coming off a bye and we was a little rusty. We don't care about all that. Take care of that right now. So next week we can have a 3-0, all Ohio weekend, where the Buckeyes win on Saturday and the Bengals and Browns take care of the rest of the weekends. But right now, and in between time, I have to get off the air. We got other bills to pay, and I don't want to back up. I don't want to take up too much of my time. But I've had the radio time. But it's always a blast to come to you guys and talk some sports with you. Feel free to hit me up over on social media, and I can answer some of your other questions there. But thank you for all listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show. And do me a favor. Get out and do random acts of kindness for your fellow man. That's it. See you next time.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's